So step one is you have to make sure that you have 3-phase power here, and then to make sure your neutral is connected on there and your earth there. Do not use earth as a neutral. Air point goes on here. Do not use smaller than an 8mm inside diameter pipe, and your air pressure shouldn't be less than 6 bar as well. There will be papers on where there's transport straps, like this one. The strap is here on the side, it's got a white one. Yours might obviously be black. So you need to cut off the strap here. Cut off the straps here for the paper so that the end trimming unit can move freely. Then the second one that's got a transport strap is the corner rounding unit. It's on there. You need to take that off. You need to take off the straps on the where the papers are as well, to make sure when you start the machine that also moves freely. You can remove these sponges, they're also not necessary, and wherever else there is straps on the units itself, must just make sure that all those straps are removed. Okay, so in the machine you'll find your tool bag. Inside your tool bag you'll find a Allen key with a T-handle. On the side here, there's 2 slots. A slot there with the Allen key and a slot there with the Allen key. On the other side you'll see the nuts sticking out, the bolts there, top and bottom, and that goes onto your edging table over there. So if you put your edging table on just like that, and you screw it from the inside until it's tight. Okay, firstly you've got your pre-millers 1 and 2. Make sure never to send boards through it that's got edging on, because that will damage your pre-millers. Secondly, your pressure roller here for your edging. When you install your edging, pull back, insert your edging and release it again. When removing the edging, don't just pull it out. You have to release it again and pull your edging out, otherwise it's going to damage the rubber roller here. Your glue pot, you don't need to do any adjustments on it. It's already been set for the glue amount that needs to go onto the board. And then when removing the cover, you can fill your glue pot here. Never go higher than the middle mark of the glue pot. Your edging height adjustment, you release the keep lever, you drop that onto your edging, give it half a turn until it's just lifted off the edging, and then lock your keep lever again. Your guillotine plate, you can release that, you can pull it back or you can push it forward. It's mostly only for strips and not for coils. So on coils you can leave it all the way back. Your 2 pressure rollers gets adjusted here. There's two large nuts here. Gets adjusted. If you do 0.4, you can close them all the way forward. If you do 1 millimeter, you have to put a 1 millimeter piece of edging there and tighten it, and the same with the second one, 1 millimeter edging and tightening it. If you do 2 millimeter edging, you take out the 1 millimeter edging, you put your 2 millimeter edging in there and you tighten it again. It's to prevent that the pressure rollers don't put too much pressure on the board that pushes your edging off. Your guillotine, inside the panel there is a sticker at the bottom which indicates what pressure setting you need to use with what thickness of edging. So your 1 millimeter will be 2.5 bar set here. You remove this button, you pull it back slightly, you turn it either forward for more pressure or you return it reverse for less pressure. So on your 1 millimeter it's 2.5 bar, your 2 millimeter it's 3.5 bar. On your 0.4 edging you can use the 1 millimeter setting as well. If done setting with the pressure, just push it forward slightly until it locks. Then we have your end trimming. If the air is on and it's been reset, it will be back all the way and at the top. You've got 3 proxies, one in the top, one in the middle, and one at the bottom. And then we've got one on the small cylinder there for your shoe on the back. So if it's at the top and in position at the bottom, the proxy should be on. When it's cutting down, the middle one will come on. It will move with the board when cutting the front, and it will drop down and it will come up again to cut the back. So if your front is cutting into the board, you adjust your head inwards or outwards for more or less cutting in the front. If it's cutting at the back, if the back cutting is not correct, you have to adjust the tail setting on here for more or less from the board. But it's currently set to factory standards, so there's not really any settings to be done when it's new. Then you've got your top and bottom trimmers. If you use your top and bottom trimmers, you have to use the settings that's marked in the canopy for whichever setting edging thickness you're going to use. So on your 1mm and your 2mm, you can use a radius setting, and then on your 0.4 you can use the 0.5 setting for a 30-degree angle, or you can use the top one that's only a flush cut, that's for your 2mm, and then you can use the same settings for your 0.4 and 1mm as well. So on here we've got dial gauges. You'll see it's marked X and B. Then if you're using a 1mm edging, you adjust the B onto 9920, which is the bottom one, and then X you'll adjust onto 0070. So going to a bigger number, you will go reverse to the bigger number. If it's a small number like 0070, then you turn your dial gauge forward. You can't go back from 000 to 9999 all the way back to 0070. So that's why if you use a bigger number, you go reverse to the bigger number, and if you use the smaller number, you go forward to get to the smaller number. Otherwise, if you do it the opposite direction, it will strip the dial gauge from the cutter. Then it's the same with the top cutter as well. So you'll see the bottom and the top cutter, the settings are exactly the same. So then you just follow the instructions on here for your X and your B dial gauges. Then we get to the corner rounding unit. You'll see it also has 2 dial gauges at the front, and here you can also do your settings according to the canopy settings written in here. So for your 1mm, 2mm, and then your 0.4, you can use the 0.5 setting. So also again, if you go to the bigger number, you go reverse, and then if you do a 30-degree rounding on your board, then for instance Y it's marked 130, you don't go backwards to get to the smaller number, you go forwards to get to the smaller number. Also, you're going to strip it if you do it the opposite direction. So this is for your corner rounding, mostly used for 1 and 2mm. Then we get to the top and bottom radius scrapers. Also only used for 1mm and 2mm. You can also do the dial gauge adjustments according to the settings in the canopy. Here also it's got the bigger number on B and the smaller number on X. So on B going reverse to the bigger number, X going to the smaller number, you go forward. Same with the top radius scraper. Okay, and that's all for the radius scrapers. If you do not use the radius scrapers, if you're going to use 0.4, we'll get to the screen later and then we'll switch them off specifically not to do a radius on the 0.4, because 0.4 is too thin for radius scraping. Then lastly we get here to the top and bottom glue surface scrapers. It's only flat scrapers. So whatever glue residue is left over on the board, the top and bottom scrapers will remove that to give you a clean board when it exits the machine. On there, there's no settings to be done. It's been preset. And then the only thing you can do there, if you do vernier, then you're going to switch off your surface glue scrapers as well, not to damage your vernier on your board. Are you ready? Okay. So after starting your machine, it will display on the screen and it will start loading the program. As soon as the program is finished loading, then your home screen will come up on for the machine settings. Okay, so if you started up the machine, it will ask you to reload the previous program. You can either say yes or no. I usually say no, because when you start it up, you're going to start with new edging. After the machine has started up and it's gone to the home screen, make sure that your door is closed. After your door has been closed, make sure that your e-stop on the screen and your e-stop on the other end of the machine is not pressed. After that is done, you press the blue reset button. It will go away, and then you'll see that there is an alarm at the bottom. If you go onto the alarm, it will tell you what is wrong. Either the door is open or the glue temperature is not on. So then we've got your glue elements that on the top, you switch that on, go to your home screen, and then when your glue is off, it will either be yellow or red. When you just press it, it will go green, and then it will start heating up the glue. So then it's still showing alarms. It tells you to check glue pot heating elements. You just press reset again. Okay. So after you've pressed reset, it will only show low temperature until your glue is up to temperature, then your alarm will go away. After your alarm has gone away, then your machine is ready to start. Before you start your machine, you can go to program. You will see there's preloaded programs there. You've got your 1mm, your 2mm, and then you've got your 0.3, 0.5. It depends on what thickness of edging you are using. Then if you select 1mm, then you go load from archive and load. After it's finished loading, you can go to the home screen. You can go top to your home screen. Then whatever units that you need for your 1mm edging will be on. Usually when you do your short sights, you don't use your corner rounding. So if you do your short sights, then you switch your corner rounding off, and then you can start your machine. When you do the long sights, you switch your corner rounding on again, and then you can do your long sights, and it will do the corner rounding for the edges. Your pre-milling, if you're going to use pre-milling, we'll get to your setting for the pre-milling. If you're going to use that on your fence, you've got a setting that you're going to use for either 0.4, 1mm or 2mm edging. If you do not use pre-milling, then you can switch it off there and you adjust your fence to 0. If you do use pre-milling, you can switch it on. You can switch everything on and off manually, or you can just load a program from programs. So if you do your 0.4, then you're going to switch off your radius scrapers that's there. Then you can use your 0.4 edging. If you're going to use 1 and 2mm edging, you can switch your radius scrapers on. If you're going to do vernier, you have to switch your top and bottom surface glue scrapers. You're going to have to switch them off to prevent the vernier from damaging. If you do PVC, then you can switch your top and bottom surface glue scrapers on. If you do strips, like I said earlier, on your biogelatine, you've got a plate that moves forwards and backwards. If that plate is specifically for strips. If you're going to do coils, then you can move that plate backwards all the way. Then it has no influence on the gelatine. Your glue setting, if you click on your glue setting, it will tell you what your set point is and then what your idling temperature will be after 120 seconds, 1200 seconds. If the machine is not operational, it will go into idling temperature. So now our glue has reached 162. So if it reaches your temperature there of 180, then the machine will be able to start. Alright, if you go at the green arrow, press it once, you go to service. Then you will see there is timers there that might have elapsed with a few hours or even a few minutes. So if you get on your warning screen, it will tell you that your glue pot cleaning timer has run out, or your machine general cleaning time has run out. So then you go to service, then you will see the general machine cleaning. Now it's standing at 5.2 hours left. If I press reset, it will go back to 8 hours. Your glue pot cleaning is 40 hours. It has 23.8 hours left. So if I press reset, it goes back to 40. So clean end trimming linear rails, it's also on 40. It's got 70. So if you reset those ones, then if you go back to your home screen and you can press on your alarms, all your alarms will be gone after resetting those ones. If you go to info, then you will see that your total machine meters, pieces and hours ran. So at the partial, if you press partial reset, it will go to 0. Then you can check how many meters or times it consumes when doing per customer, or what you have done for the day. So in the mornings or after every customer, you can just press partial reset, it will go to 0 there, but these total hours and meters will not go away. And then here on the screen you can select your language. Currently it's on English, and then you can go to your home screen again. Okay, so now the glue has reached temperature. After it's reached the temperature, then you can press the belt that will start the machine. And then after that, if you're done with the job, you can just press the belt again and the machine will stop. So this adjustment on this dial gauge is for your pre-milling. If you want to do 0.4, the red is going to be on 4. If you want to do 1 millimeter, you have to adjust it to 10. That's for 1 millimeter. So if you want to do 2 millimeter, you turn it to 20. That's 2 millimeter. If you go back to 0, it means you don't want to use your pre-milling. Then you can switch your pre-milling off on the screen, and it has to be adjusted to 0 on the dial gauge as well. And then for your bridge, you're going to do your settings on your bridge here for the height adjustment to whichever thickness of board you're going to use. So after removing the transport boards, you can adjust your panel sizes down to 16 millimeter, and then you can press start. After the red light has gone off, you can start feeding your board. As long as the red light is on, you cannot feed a new board. You have to wait for the red light to go off before you feed in a new board. If you do not wait for the red light to go off when feeding a new board, it will stop your machine halfway. Okay, so your extraction points is one at the front for the pre-milling, one in the middle, that's for your trimmings. And then we've got one on the side here. It's called the chip collector box. This is also important. All your shavings from your radius scraper will come in here, and from your surface loose scrapers. You have to clean it regularly so it doesn't build up. Otherwise, all your shavings is going to build up onto your scrapers. And make sure that your extraction is proper, otherwise it's also going to cause a build up.